In a galaxy where species from countless planets converge, one university dares to tackle the ultimate challenge, bridging the vast divide between alien cultures through Earth's most unpredictable inhabitants' pets. When a group of curious alien students is introduced to Earth's beloved animals, chaos erupts. But as furry, scaly, and feathered creatures form unexpected bonds with their alien counterparts, the students soon discover that connection goes beyond language and appearances. What began as a chaotic experiment will forever change the way these species understand empathy, trust, and friendship, proving that sometimes the most unlikely companions can create the deepest bonds. The Galactic University of Interstellar Knowledge stands as a symbol of unity and scholarly pursuit in a universe filled with diverse species and cultures. Located at the heart of a vast network that connects over 200 different species, the university serves as a hub for the exchange of ideas, technology, and culture. Its academic environment fosters cooperation among beings with wildly different biological, social, and intellectual characteristics. For beings across the galaxy, it's a place where knowledge is shared freely and understanding between different species is promoted. Despite its grand ambitions and the cultural diversity it hosts, the university is known for its tranquil, almost uneventful atmosphere. This calm state, though not dramatic, is something that Dean Zyler Quarren, the esteemed leader of the university, deeply values. To Quarren, maintaining this peaceful environment is one of the university's greatest achievements. The absence of major incidents or conflicts is seen as a success in itself because it reflects the harmony between species and the overall order of the institution. Quarren's approach to leadership is one of maintaining balance, where intellectual exchange and peaceful coexistence are prioritized above sensational events or high-stakes controversies. However, Quarren understands that too much predictability can become monotonous. As a result, he occasionally seeks to introduce initiatives that could potentially shake up the norm, while still adhering to the values of peace and collaboration. This sets the stage for the announcement he is about to make, a decision that will challenge the status quo and introduce an element of unpredictability into the otherwise steady rhythm of life at the university. The idea of bringing companion animals, commonly referred to by humans as pets, into the university's academic environment is one such initiative that reflects Quarren's desire to promote deeper interspecies understanding, despite the potential for chaos it might cause. Dean Zyler Quarren's announcement of a new initiative at the Galactic University of Interstellar Knowledge immediately grabs the attention of the students, particularly as he reveals that the university will allow students to bring their companion animals, known as pets by humans, to class. This is a highly unusual proposal, as the university's environment is typically one of controlled order and scholarly calm. The notion of introducing animals, creatures often associated with unpredictability and chaos, into this atmosphere is sure to disrupt the usual flow of daily activities. Quarren's decision stems from his belief in the importance of fostering deeper interspecies understanding through a more personal and unique interaction, which he believes could offer valuable insights into the diverse ways that different species live and coexist. The reaction from the students is immediate and mixed. While some are intrigued or even excited by the idea, others react with suspicion, fear, and confusion. For many of the alien species present at the university, the concept of companion animals is either unfamiliar or seen as dangerous. This is particularly true for species that have evolved in more hostile or survival-focused environments where the idea of domesticated animals, particularly predators, seems out of place. For example, a Krillian student whose serpentine body is a natural predator expresses concern, fearing that allowing these Death Worlders to bring their animals into the academic space could result in catastrophe. The term Death Worlders is used here by some of the aliens to describe humans and their penchant for bringing dangerous, sometimes predatory creatures into peaceful environments. These reactions highlight the stark contrast between human culture and that of other species, where animals serve as companions rather than threats. Despite these reactions, Dean Quarren remains calm and resolute, reassuring the students that the initiative is not a jest or a thoughtless decision. He emphasizes the importance of the cultural exchange that the pets will facilitate, suggesting that this initiative will help students learn about each other's lifestyles in a way that transcends traditional academic discussions. He further insists that strict rules will be in place to ensure that all animals are controlled and restrained, so as to prevent any harm or disruption to the university's learning environment. Quarren's hope is that this exercise will provide the students with a deeper appreciation of the diversity of life in the galaxy and, through personal interactions with these animals, foster a new understanding of the different ways life can be appreciated and valued across species. However, his tone carries an undercurrent of uncertainty as he recognizes the potential for chaos that could unfold when animals unfamiliar to the alien students are brought into the academic setting. As the students gather in the grand lecture hall, an air of nervous anticipation fills the room. Typically a calm space dedicated to discussions of knowledge and diplomacy, today the hall is buzzing with excitement and unease. The cause of this disruption? The introduction of animals, companion creatures, or pets, as they are known to humans. As the students file in, the hall fills with the strange and disconcerting sounds of barking, meowing, chirping, and even the faint hiss of a snake, creating an atmosphere that is starkly different from the usual scholarly calm. The presence of these animals stirs immediate reactions, especially from the alien students who are unaccustomed to the concept of domestic animals coexisting with intelligent species in such a controlled, academic environment. The human students arrive enthusiastically, each leading or carrying their animals, eager to share their companions with their fellow students. The animals, many of them dogs, cats, and even more unusual creatures like rabbits, tarantulas, and snakes, immediately create an atmosphere of chaos, each animal's unique behaviors triggering a cascade of reactions from the alien students. For instance, a golden retriever named Daisy, wagging her tail energetically, rushes to greet a group of Riverian students, causing immediate panic. TK, a Riverian, is particularly alarmed and leaps onto a desk, convinced that the dog is about to attack. Their feathers puff up in terror as they squawk in distress, questioning whether the dog is a predator. The humans, of course, try to reassure the alien students, explaining that Daisy is harmless, just excited to meet new friends. However, for TK, the situation is far from reassuring, and their fear highlights the deep cultural divide between the humans' relaxed attitude toward their pets and the alien students' perceptions of them as threats. Similarly, the cat, Whiskers, causes a stir when it decides to sit on the lap of an Andoran student, who freezes, unsure how to respond to the feline's affectionate behavior. The cat's act of kneading and purring, which to humans is simply a sign of affection, is interpreted by the Andoran as something far more ominous. Their antennas quiver nervously as they question if this is an attack, further emphasizing their unease and unfamiliarity with Earth's animals. This moment illustrates how even simple acts of animal behavior can be completely misunderstood by species that have no context for them. The lecture hall has transformed into a chaotic, unpredictable environment, and Dean Quarren, observing the pandemonium, realizes that his grand experiment in fostering interspecies understanding is quickly spiraling out of control. Despite the chaos, there are small moments of connection emerging. Some students begin to tentatively engage with the animals, slowly discovering the joy of companionship, even if it is initially wrapped in fear or hesitation. For instance, a timid Vex student, their crystalline body refracting the light, cautiously approaches a human holding a small bunny. The Vex, unsure of what to make of this soft creature, slowly reaches out and begins to stroke the bunny, marveling at its gentle texture. This interaction represents the first flickers of understanding and curiosity, as the alien students begin to realize that Earth's animals, while unfamiliar and potentially frightening at first, hold no malice and may even offer a new, positive experience. However, the overall atmosphere is still one of tension, and Dean Quarren watches with a mixture of anxiety and hope as his experiment unfolds, uncertain of what the ultimate outcome will be. The chaotic atmosphere in the lecture hall begins to settle into a strange rhythm of tentative exploration. The initial pandemonium caused by the sudden introduction of animals has not dissipated entirely, but something remarkable starts to happen. the alien students, who were once terrified or bewildered by the presence of these creatures, begin to engage with them in a more curious and cautious manner. While some students, such as Crix, remain perched high on the ceiling beams, unwilling to come down and face the animals, a surprising number of others begin to show signs of interest. There is a shift from fear to curiosity as more and more students start to interact with the animals, albeit with hesitation. The golden retriever, Daisy, is particularly successful in bridging the gap between species. Despite the initial fear she elicited from the Riverians, TK, one of the most vocal skeptics, finally relents when Jessie, the human student, coaxes them down with a biscuit. Daisy's calm and gentle demeanor seems to break through TK's wariness. Jessie assures them that Daisy will not bite, and with some uncertainty, TK watches as the dog takes the treat gently from Jessie's hand. This simple, non-threatening interaction is a pivotal moment in the day's unfolding events. TK, still nervous but slowly relaxing, remarks on how surprisingly disciplined Daisy is, considering her status as a predator, an assumption that, as the day goes on, starts to unravel. After some further coaxing, TK even reaches out to pet Daisy, who happily licks their hand, which leads to a startled chirp of laughter from TK. The rigid fear that initially defined their interaction with the dog begins to soften, replaced with a cautious appreciation for this Earth creature. At the same time, another heartening development is unfolding across the hall. An Andoran student, who had earlier frozen in panic when the cat, Whiskers, began to knead their lap, now watches in awe as Whiskers plays with a toy mouse. The Andoran, still unsure but increasingly intrigued, witnesses the cat's precise movements and remarks on her hunting ability, wondering if this behavior signifies a deeper purpose. The human student beside them patiently explains that the cat is simply playing, a form of recreation rather than predatory survival. The Andoran, who had no context for such behavior, gradually begins to understand the cat's playful nature. Slowly, they extend a hand to pet the cat, and the creature responds by rubbing against their fingers in a gentle show of affection. For the Andoran, this marks the beginning of a deeper, more personal connection with an animal from Earth, a breakthrough in their understanding of interspecies relationships. Meanwhile, another success emerges with Laura, a human engineering student who has brought a tarantula to class. Initially met with horror and fainting spells from the insectoid students, Lara's quiet patience and explanations about the tarantula's harmlessness gradually draw the attention of an alien student named Prick. Prick, who had recoiled in fear at the sight of the spider, eventually gathers the courage to approach the creature and even allows it to crawl onto Lara's hand. This simple act of trust transforms Prick's perception, as they marvel at the tarantula's elegance and the skill it uses to build its web. Through this small but significant moment, Prick learns to appreciate the intricacies of Earth's animals in a way they never imagined, marking a personal victory not only for the alien, but also for Lara, who patiently shares her knowledge. In these moments of engagement, despite the initial chaos, there is a clear shift in the tone of the lecture hall. Where there was once fear, there is now wonder and curiosity. Though the alien students are still not fully comfortable with Earth's animals, they are beginning to understand them not as threats, but as creatures capable of connection, care, and even joy. As the students tentatively begin to bridge the gap between species, the lecture hall, once a battleground of misunderstandings and anxieties, transforms into a space where the magic of interspecies learning is happening before Dean Quarren's very eyes. Though the day is far from perfect, these subtle, positive shifts suggest that the initiative, while chaotic, might just be a success after all. The story focuses on the unexpected yet heartening moments of connection between alien students and the animals brought by their human classmates. Despite the initial chaos, which saw students cowering from or fleeing in panic at the sight of dogs, cats, and other animals, small but meaningful interactions begin to take place as the day unfolds. These moments are significant because they demonstrate that, while the cultural divide between the aliens and the Earth animals is vast, the potential for understanding and mutual respect exists. One of the most poignant examples of this connection occurs with a small, crystalline alien student named Vex, who has been hesitant and wary about the animals. Initially, the Vex seems unsure about how to approach the human who is holding a bunny. The alien, who has been quiet and distant throughout most of the day, cautiously approaches the human and asks, "Does it have claws?" The human reassures them by explaining that the bunny is just fluff with no dangerous features. With this reassurance, the Vex tentatively reaches out and strokes the bunny's soft fur. As they do so, their crystalline body begins to glow with a warm, pleasant hue. The alien's reaction, both physical and emotional, reflects a shift in their perception of Earth animals. They had feared the creatures might be dangerous, but instead, the bunny provides a moment of gentle comfort. This is a key turning point, as it shows that despite their differences, the alien students can still find joy and peace in the presence of the animals. It suggests that despite the fear of the unknown, these beings can appreciate the simple, innocent nature of animals, something that transcends species boundaries. At the same time, a parrot named Paco, who has become something of a room sensation due to his remarkable ability to mimic voices, adds a layer of lightheartedness to the otherwise tense atmosphere. Paco's ability to repeat phrases like, "It's trying to eat me," in a perfect imitation of TK's panicked voice draws laughter from the human students, who are delighted by the bird's antics. However, for the alien students, the experience is disorienting. The fact that a creature can mimic their words, something they hadn't anticipated, compounds the strangeness of the situation. Initially, the alien students are alarmed, thinking that Paco is somehow spying on them. This reaction is indicative of how alien their understanding of Earth's animals is. Yet, over time, they begin to see that Paco's mimicry is not an attack, but rather a form of communication and play. For the humans, this is simply a bird being a bird, but for the aliens, it opens up a new way of thinking about communication and interaction with creatures. Meanwhile, TK, the once panicked Riverian, begins to experience a gradual change in perspective. Having spent much of the day flapping around in fear of the animals, they are finally coaxed down from their perch by Jessie, who offers a biscuit to Daisy, the golden retriever. Despite the Riverian's previous concerns about the dog being a predator, Daisy's calm and obedient behavior begins to challenge TK's assumptions. TK watches in amazement as Daisy takes the treat gently from Jessie's hand. This small act of kindness is enough to bridge the gap of fear, allowing TK to pet the dog. The Riverian remarks on Daisy's surprisingly disciplined nature for what they had initially thought was a predator. It's a powerful moment for TK, who had been consumed by fear but now experiences firsthand that dogs, and animals in general, may not be as dangerous as they initially believed. These moments of tentative connection not only demonstrate the potential for cross-species understanding, but they also reflect the power of patience and empathy in bridging cultural divides. By allowing the aliens to take their time and approach the animals at their own pace, the humans facilitate the process of mutual discovery. The animals, with their friendly and non-threatening behavior, serve as intermediaries, helping to smooth the rough edges of initial misunderstandings and discomfort. In this way, the students are not only learning about the animals of Earth, but are also learning to engage with each other's differences in a more open and compassionate manner. As the day progresses, the lecture hall becomes a microcosm of the broader theme of the story, that understanding and connection, no matter how strange or foreign they seem, are always within reach if the parties involved are willing to step outside their comfort zones. The story revolves around the gradual shift in the alien students' perceptions of Earth animals. Despite the initial panic and chaos caused by the sudden introduction of dogs, cats, and other pets into the lecture hall, over time, several alien students begin to warm up to the creatures and develop a sense of curiosity and understanding. This transformation is significant because it highlights how exposure to new experiences and the willingness to engage can break down preconceived fears and biases, leading to unexpected moments of connection between species. One of the most striking examples of this change happens with the Andran student, who had previously been horrified by a cat named Whiskers. Initially, when Whiskers casually jumped into the Andaran's lap, the alien froze in terror, perceiving the cat's behavior as a threat. The Andaran's antennae quivered, and they believed that the cat's actions, such as kneading its paws on their robes, could be an aggressive attack. However, as the human student beside them explained that the cat was simply showing affection in the way cats do, the Andaran began to relax. The process of learning about the cat's behavior and understanding that the cat's actions were not dangerous allowed the Andaran to slowly start feeling more comfortable. This marked the beginning of a shift from fear to fascination. Eventually, the Andaran even reached out to gently pet Whiskers, a moment that signifies the breaking down of the initial barriers and the formation of an emotional connection. Simultaneously, another alien student, Prick, who had been initially terrified of the tarantula brought by Lara, starts to experience a similar shift in perception. At first, the sight of the spider sent Prick into a state of fainting and distress. Spiders, with their many legs and predatory appearance, are terrifying to many species, especially those who have evolved to see them as threats. However, Lara, sensing Prick's fear, patiently reassures them by explaining that the tarantula is harmless and that it helps maintain ecological balance by controlling pest populations. Slowly, Prick's curiosity begins to outweigh their fear. They eventually muster the courage to interact with the tarantula and, with some hesitation, extend a finger towards it. As the spider crawls gently on their hand, Prick's initial anxiety is replaced with wonder and admiration. They marvel at the tarantula's precision and elegance as it moves, a complete transformation from the terror they once felt. This interaction exemplifies how education, patience, and direct experience can replace fear with respect and understanding. For the alien students who were initially the most vocal in their criticisms, such as the Riverian named TK, there is also significant progress. TK had been one of the first to voice concerns about the Death Worlders bringing dangerous animals to the university. Their feathers had puffed out in alarm at the sight of a golden retriever, and they assumed that it was a predator. However, as they witnessed Daisy's calm and non-threatening behavior, TK began to rethink their assumptions. With a treat from Jessie, TK finally interacted with the dog and was surprised by how gentle Daisy was. This experience allowed TK to see the dog not as a predator, but as a companion. This moment is particularly significant because it represents the overcoming of a deep-seated fear that had been based on misconceptions. Through this simple act of interaction, TK's worldview expanded, and they realized that perhaps the Death Worlders and their animals weren't as dangerous as they had originally thought. The overall shift in the alien students' attitudes throughout the day reflects a broader theme in the story. The idea that preconceived notions and fears can be challenged and overcome when individuals open themselves up to new experiences. The animals, who were once seen as threats, gradually become objects of fascination, comfort, and even affection. This change is not immediate, and it does not happen for every student, but it shows that genuine learning, connection, and growth often require time, patience, and exposure to unfamiliar concepts. Dean Queren, who initially saw the event as a simple experiment in cross-species bonding, begins to recognize the profound impact that these interactions are having on his students. The animals, as unpredictable and strange as they may seem, have provided a powerful tool for fostering understanding and empathy among species that, on the surface, appear vastly different. By the end of the day, the classroom atmosphere has undergone a transformation. The chaos of the morning has subsided into a surprising sense of calm, and a tentative curiosity now fills the room. Students who were once afraid are now sitting beside humans, petting dogs, cats, and even more exotic creatures like tarantulas, with expressions of awe and contemplation. This shift not only highlights the potential for learning and growth, but also underscores the theme of the story: that diversity, even in its most unexpected forms, has the power to bring people and species closer together. Dean Queren watches all of this unfold with a mix of satisfaction and disbelief, acknowledging that, despite the chaos, the experiment was ultimately a success. It's clear that the introduction of these Earth animals into the classroom has brought the galaxy a little closer to being united through shared experiences and new forms of understanding. The story explores the ongoing impact of the cultural exchange between humans and alien students, focusing on how certain alien students, despite initial reluctance and fear, gradually embrace the idea of forming connections with Earth animals. The experiment that Dean Quarren introduced to the Galactic University, despite its chaotic beginning, transforms into a surprisingly successful opportunity for cross-species understanding. Through this point, we witness how the initial unease gives way to curiosity, personal growth, and even emotional bonding. One of the most significant moments in this process involves TK, a Riverian student who had been particularly vocal about the dangers of Earth animals. At the start of the event, TK's feathers were puffed out in alarm as they witnessed the Death Worlders, bringing what they assumed to be dangerous creatures into the lecture hall. The golden retriever, Daisy, was the main source of this panic for TK, who could not fathom why such a creature would be in the classroom. TK's natural instinct was to view the dog as a predator, and this led to a heightened state of anxiety. However, through the course of the day, TK experiences a slow transformation. With the encouragement of Jessie, the human student who owns Daisy, TK finally gives the dog a chance by offering her a treat. To their surprise, Daisy takes the treat gently and does not act in an aggressive manner. This small interaction challenges TK's preconceived notions of the dog, and the shift in perspective is significant. As TK becomes more comfortable, they begin to relax and even start to view the dog as a non-threatening companion. This change is exemplified when TK, once terrified, gently runs their hand along Daisy's fur. The act of touching the dog without fear represents a profound shift from a mindset based on suspicion and fear to one based on trust and comfort. Similarly, other students like the Andoran and Prick begin to shift in their perspectives. The Andoran, who was initially horrified by the behavior of a cat, slowly realizes that the cat's actions were not predatory. Instead, they were expressions of affection, and as the Andoran learned to understand these cues, their fear melted away. They grew increasingly comfortable with the cat, even becoming fond of it as they stroked its fur. This interaction is a key moment of emotional growth, demonstrating how fear can be overcome through education and exposure. For the Andoran, this was not just an opportunity to learn about another species, but also an emotional experience that challenged their own cultural assumptions. Similarly, Prick, who had been initially terrified by the tarantula, is able to overcome their fear and gain a deep appreciation for the creature. Lara, the human student who brought the spider, explained to Prick that tarantulas are not the monstrous predators they may appear to be, but rather gentle and vital creatures in their own right. This led Prick to interact with the spider in a way they never would have considered before, slowly acknowledging its elegance and usefulness in maintaining ecological balance. The interaction with the tarantula marked an important turning point, as Prick's initial anxiety shifted into admiration and curiosity, a key theme of the story. The transformation isn't limited to humans interacting with aliens, either. The Earth animals, once perceived as potential dangers, become sources of comfort and emotional expression. The human students, through their patience and understanding, foster an environment where the alien students feel safe to question their own fears. The sense of alienation that many of the extraterrestrials initially felt begins to dissolve. The joy of interacting with the animals becomes a gateway to a broader understanding of what it means to coexist with different species. In a way, these creatures help the alien students see beyond the physical and cultural differences that initially divided them, helping them realize that there are common emotional experiences shared between all species, whether it's the joy of companionship, the need for care, or simply the pleasure of petting a soft animal. What is particularly striking in Point 7 is how this transformation, sparked by simple, non-threatening interactions with animals, begins to heal emotional and cultural divides. The fear that had once been so prevalent among the alien students begins to dissipate, and in its place is a genuine curiosity and affection for the animals. For some, this was an eye-opening experience that allowed them to reevaluate their entire perspective on Earth creatures. For others, it was a powerful reminder of how the simple things in life, such as the affection of a pet, can transcend even the most profound differences. It is in these moments that Dean Quarren sees the true power of his experiment. It wasn't just about exposing students to new species, but about using these animals as a bridge to foster emotional connections and understanding between different beings. The culmination of this process is revealed in the end of the day, when even the most hesitant and fearful students, those who had clung to ceilings or remained at a distance from the animals, finally start to engage. TK, for example, once so frightened of Daisy, now sits with the dog calmly, stroking her fur. The Andoran student, who had once recoiled from the idea of a cat's affection, now allows the cat to purr on their lap. Even Prick, the insectoid student, who once fainted at the sight of a tarantula, is able to appreciate its beauty. This moment of unity, forged through simple acts of care and the sharing of different species companionship, demonstrates the profound potential for cross-species understanding, empathy, and connection. Dean Quarren, in his quiet observation of the transformed lecture hall, reflects on the success of his experiment. The day that had begun in chaos has ended with something unexpected, a genuine, if tentative, sense of connection and understanding among species that had once feared or misunderstood each other. The lesson that Dean Quarren learns, and that he hopes to pass on to others, is that even the most unpredictable and chaotic experiences can result in profound moments of cultural exchange, understanding, and growth. The animals, once considered a source of fear and chaos, have ultimately played a critical role in opening hearts and minds, making the galaxy just a little bit more connected than before. The moments of surprise and connection that emerged during the second day of the cultural exchange, showcasing how the chaos from the previous day has started to evolve into a more positive and engaging experience for both the human and alien students. While the animals initially caused alarm and confusion, they are now becoming instruments of bonding, fostering mutual understanding among the diverse species present in the Galactic University. This point highlights the shift from skepticism and fear to curiosity and enjoyment as students begin to appreciate the Earth animals in ways they hadn't anticipated. The first significant development in this point involves the gradual change in attitude among the alien students. On the second day, the lecture hall has transitioned from chaos to a more controlled environment. Although some students still maintain their distance or remain wary, there is a noticeable shift in how they are engaging with the animals. The most notable example of this change is TK, the Riverian student, who had been the most vocal in condemning the Earth animals the day before. Initially, TK was terrified of the golden retriever, Daisy, and had viewed her as a dangerous predator. However, after some gentle coaxing from Jessie, the human student, and a few positive interactions with the dog, TK starts to overcome their initial fear. This shift is symbolized when TK, who had previously perched on a desk in terror, is now sitting cross-legged on the floor, gently stroking Daisy's fur. The act of petting Daisy symbolizes the progress TK has made in overcoming their fear of predators and demonstrates how a willingness to engage with others can lead to unexpected connections. TK's initial hesitation is replaced with curiosity, and they even acknowledge Daisy's comforting presence, which marks a significant emotional breakthrough. Their fear of a predator has been replaced with the recognition of the dog's gentle nature, something that was initially impossible for them to comprehend. Similarly, other students also begin to display signs of curiosity and affection toward the animals. The Andoran student, who had initially been terrified by the cat's actions, now watches in fascination as the cat, Whiskers, plays with a toy mouse. The Andoran, once alarmed by the cat's playful behavior, now sees it in a new light, realizing that the cat's hunting instincts are not a threat, but part of its playful nature. This realization is a crucial turning point for the Andoran, who is beginning to understand that animals, though they may have different behaviors from their own species, are not inherently dangerous. The Andoran's shift from fear to admiration is further exemplified when they cautiously reach out to pet the cat. This interaction not only reveals a change in their perception of the animal, but also deepens their understanding of the diversity of life within the galaxy. For the Andoran, the playful actions of the cat become a source of joy rather than a source of fear. Meanwhile, The insectoid student Prick, who had been terrified of the tarantula the day before, now finds themselves intrigued by the spider's movements. Laura, the human student who brought the tarantula, gently explains the spider's role in nature, emphasizing its importance in maintaining ecological balance. This explanation opens a new perspective for Prick, who had previously viewed the tarantula as a dangerous creature. The moment when Prick begins to appreciate the tarantula's grace and elegance is a powerful example of how education and exposure can change an individual's understanding of something unfamiliar. Prick, who had once recoiled from the spider, is now actively engaging with it, asking thoughtful questions about its behavior. This shift from fear to fascination underscores the potential for cross-species understanding, particularly when one is willing to set aside their assumptions and embrace new experiences. At the same time, moments of humor and amusement arise, helping to break down barriers between the species. A parrot named Paco, who had previously caused alarm by mimicking the voices of the alien students, becomes a source of laughter. Paco's ability to repeat phrases like, "It's trying to eat me," and "Run for your lives," in perfect imitation of the alien voices creates a sense of lightheartedness in the room. Although the aliens had initially been frightened by the parrot's mimicry, they soon realized that Paco is simply playing, and the humor helps to ease the tension. The parrot's antics are no longer seen as a threat, but as a source of entertainment, demonstrating how humor can be a universal tool for breaking down walls between different cultures and species. In this way, Paco's mimicry becomes an unlikely bridge that fosters interaction and camaraderie among the students. As the day progresses, more and more alien students begin to approach the animals, even participating in playful activities. One such example is when an Ashian student, who had previously remained aloof, tries to play fetch with Daisy. Though the Ashian has 3 fingers and struggles to throw the ball, they are clearly enjoying the experience. Daisy, unbothered by the clumsy throw, happily retrieves the ball each time, and the Ashian's laughter at their awkward attempt shows a growing sense of comfort and acceptance. This moment exemplifies how animals, through their non-judgmental nature and simple actions, can help alien students engage in joyful experiences they may have never considered before. The act of playing fetch, a simple yet fun activity, becomes a vehicle for alien students to bond with each other and with the Earth animals. It also symbolizes how cross-species interactions, despite their awkward beginnings, can lead to moments of connection that transcend cultural and biological differences. Throughout these interactions, Dean Quarren observes the growing sense of harmony and understanding. Initially, the idea of bringing animals into the lecture hall seemed like an absurd and chaotic experiment. However, as the day progresses, he begins to see the profound impact it has had on the students. The lecture hall, once a place of tension and fear, is now filled with laughter, curiosity, and tentative affection. Dean Quarren, who had been uncertain about the success of the initiative, is now witnessing firsthand the power of these animals to bridge gaps between species. The once divided groups of students are now mingling, petting dogs, cats, and even tarantulas, forming connections that would have been unimaginable the day before. The lesson that Dean Quarren learns is that cross-species understanding doesn't just come from intellectual exchange, but from shared experiences and emotions, like the comfort of a dog's companionship or the fascination with a cat's playful behavior. In conclusion, Point 8 emphasizes the transformation of the Galactic University's lecture hall from a place of fear and chaos into one of mutual understanding and connection. The interactions between the alien students and the Earth animals highlight the power of shared experiences in overcoming prejudice and fear. Through moments of humor, curiosity, and affection, the students learn to appreciate each other's differences and find common ground, demonstrating the potential for interspecies bonding that transcends cultural and biological boundaries. The day ends with a sense of optimism and unity, as Dean Quarren reflects on the unexpected success of his experiment. A pivotal moment in the cultural exchange at Galactic University, as the animals and alien students come together in a collective effort to create something meaningful, further solidifying the bonds between the species. This point illustrates how the students, who were initially apprehensive or even frightened by the presence of Earth animals, now begin to embrace these creatures as partners in a shared endeavor. The students no longer see the animals as chaotic intruders, but as valued members of their community, capable of teaching them lessons in cooperation, empathy, and cultural exchange. The narrative shifts to a moment of collaboration during an impromptu group project that takes place on the second day. The students, now more comfortable with the animals, are tasked with working together on a creative challenge. The objective is to create a mural that represents the unity and diversity of the different species at the university. This challenge provides a unique opportunity for both the alien students and the animals to interact in a way that fosters teamwork and appreciation for one another. While the task may seem simple, creating a mural, it becomes symbolic of the larger goal of cross-species understanding and communication. As the mural project progresses, the students begin to notice how the animals influence their work in unexpected ways. For instance, Daisy, the golden retriever, enthusiastically participates in the artistic process by walking across the canvas, leaving behind paw prints that add an organic and playful dimension to the mural. At first, the alien students are unsure about the paw prints, unsure of how they fit into the design. However, as they step back and observe the artwork, they realize that these unintentional marks add a layer of beauty and authenticity to the mural, reflecting the unpredictable and spontaneous nature of the animals themselves. What initially appeared as a mistake becomes a defining characteristic of the mural, showing the students how even mistakes can contribute to a greater artistic whole. This moment emphasizes that cooperation can arise not only from planned actions, but also from embracing the unexpected, as Daisy's playful steps turn into an integral part of the project. Meanwhile, the cat Whiskers, who had once been a source of fear and confusion for the alien students, takes a more subtle yet impactful role in the creative process. Whiskers becomes the subject of the mural, with the alien students opting to paint a stylized depiction of the cat in various poses, capturing its grace and agility. As they work on the mural, the alien students begin to appreciate the elegance and beauty of the cat's movements. The act of observing Whiskers and translating its movements onto the canvas becomes a moment of discovery, as they realize that the cat's playful nature has inspired them to approach the project with a greater sense of fluidity and creativity. The experience not only highlights the importance of mutual respect between the students and the animals, but also emphasizes how art can be a powerful vehicle for building understanding across species. The mural becomes not just a work of art, but a visual representation of how the animals have shaped the students' perceptions and interactions. The Andoran, who had once feared the cat's hunting behavior, now works with the group to create intricate patterns and designs inspired by Whisker's playful actions. This shift in the Andaran's perception is significant, as it marks the first time they have truly connected with an Earth animal in a meaningful way. By working together on the mural, the Andoran and the other students are able to channel their shared experiences and newfound understanding into a collaborative creation. This mural represents not only the students' artistic efforts, but also their emotional growth and willingness to embrace the diversity of life forms at Galactic University. In a similar vein, Prick, the insectoid student who had once been terrified of the tarantula, becomes an unlikely ally in the mural project. Initially, Prick was repelled by the idea of working with the spider, but over time, they've developed a sense of admiration for the tarantula's unique movements and its graceful way of navigating its environment. Prick, who had been hesitant to engage with the spider, now draws inspiration from the tarantula's delicate steps, incorporating these into the mural's design. This moment of transformation highlights the power of exposure and interaction in breaking down preconceived notions and fears. By working side by side with the tarantula, Prick comes to view the creature as a symbol of patience and precision, qualities that are often undervalued in more fast-paced or chaotic environments. The tarantula's presence in the mural, combined with Prick's artistic interpretation, becomes a symbol of overcoming fear and finding beauty in the unfamiliar. As the mural begins to take shape, it becomes clear that the animals are not just passive participants in the students' creative process. They are active collaborators. The presence of the animals transforms the mural from a simple artistic exercise into a rich tapestry of cultural and emotional exchange. The students come to understand that each species, both human and alien, brings something unique to the table. Just as each animal brings its own personality and behavior to the project, each student contributes their own perspectives, backgrounds, and talents. The mural is a reflection of the diversity of the Galactic University, and in turn, it serves as a testament to the power of collaboration across species. As the students finish the mural, the final result is a beautiful, colorful representation of the unity and diversity of their community. The animal's paw prints, the cat's graceful poses, the tarantula's precise movements, and the students' artistic efforts all come together to create a masterpiece. The mural is displayed in a prominent location within the university, serving as a constant reminder of the bonds that have been formed and the lessons that have been learned. It symbolizes the growth of the students, not just in their artistic skills, but in their ability to overcome fears, break down barriers, and appreciate the value of diversity, cooperation, and empathy. In conclusion, Point 9 highlights the transformative power of collaboration in fostering understanding between species. The mural project serves as a microcosm of the larger cultural exchange happening at Galactic University, illustrating how the students and animals have moved from fear and misunderstanding to cooperation and mutual respect. The animals, once seen as intruders or sources of fear, are now embraced as collaborators, and the mural becomes a powerful symbol of the newfound unity between the diverse species at the university. This point demonstrates that, through shared experiences and creative efforts, even the most unlikely allies can come together to create something meaningful and lasting. The culmination of the cultural exchange at Galactic University, with the experiment with bringing Earth animals into the academic environment, which initially caused chaos and confusion, has ultimately led to significant growth, connection, and understanding among the species. This point highlights the long-term effects of the initiative, where the students and animals, once seen as incompatible or foreign to one another, have developed a deep sense of connection and appreciation for the diversity and companionship they now share. The exchange, which initially seemed like a disaster, has evolved into a profound success that has reshaped the way the species at Galactic University view each other and their own worldviews. At the beginning of the initiative, there was palpable tension and apprehension among the alien students, who were unaccustomed to the chaotic and unpredictable nature of the Earth animals. Many alien species were reluctant or even fearful of interacting with creatures that, to them, seemed like wild and dangerous predators. The humans, on the other hand, were excited to share their companion animals, but their enthusiasm was met with resistance. The initial days were filled with confusion, misunderstandings, and minor disasters. However, as time passed, something unexpected began to happen. The students began to warm up to the animals, and the animals, in turn, became catalysts for important social and emotional connections. As Point 10 unfolds, the alien students who once avoided the Earth creatures or viewed them with suspicion now find themselves drawn to them in unexpected ways. This shift happens gradually, with many alien students approaching the animals with cautious curiosity. What had once been an initiative that seemed destined to fail has become an exercise in overcoming fear and discovering the unexpected joy that comes from interacting with creatures so vastly different from their own species. The animals, in their simple and unconditional way, have taught the students valuable lessons in trust, empathy, and the importance of shared experiences. A key moment of transformation is described when a once skeptical Riverian student, TK, begins to accept the presence of a golden retriever named Daisy. Initially, TK was terrified of the dog, seeing it as a predator. However, through patient interaction and with the encouragement of the human student Jessie, TK slowly overcomes their fears. Daisy's friendly demeanor and gentle nature challenge TK's preconceived notions about what a predator can be. The dog's actions, such as patiently sitting and accepting treats, help TK realize that not all predators are dangerous, and this realization has a profound impact on TK's ability to engage with other species. This moment is symbolic of the broader journey the students have undertaken, where initial discomfort and fear have been replaced by understanding and mutual respect. Elsewhere in the lecture hall, similar transformations take place. The Andoran, who had been terrified by Whiskers the cat, begins to see the cat's playful nature as a sign of affection rather than aggression. The Andoran student's perception shifts from viewing the cat's behavior as a threat to seeing it as a source of comfort. By the end of the day, the Andoran has developed a new appreciation for the simple joys that come with companionship, something that had once seemed entirely foreign. This shift represents a fundamental change in the Andoran's worldview, as they now understand the role of pets in human culture and the bonds that can be formed across species through shared affection and care. Another significant moment occurs with the tarantula Charlotte, whose presence had initially caused fainting among the insectoid students. However, over time, the students begin to recognize the unique qualities of the tarantula, such as its precision, grace, and importance in ecosystems. One student, Prick, who had previously been terrified of spiders, is now able to appreciate Charlotte's elegance and even draws inspiration from the tarantula's slow, deliberate movements. This shift in perspective represents the broader theme of the initiative, that through exposure and understanding, even the most unfamiliar and intimidating things can be embraced. The students are learning to see value in creatures they would have previously considered alien or even hostile. The success of the initiative is not just seen in the individual changes of perspective, but also in the way that the students begin to form bonds with one another. In the process of learning to care for animals and understanding the cultural significance of pets to humans, the students from different species come together in ways that had previously been impossible. In many cases, the animals act as a bridge between the humans and the alien species, providing a common ground for interaction. The once skeptical students are now able to see past their differences and find commonality in their shared experiences with the animals. This breaking down of barriers is symbolic of the potential for true interspecies cooperation and understanding. The animals have also played a vital role in fostering a sense of empathy among the students. As the students spend more time with their companion animals, they begin to understand the emotional and psychological benefits that come from having such a bond. The joy of petting a dog or the calmness induced by a cat's purring teaches the students the importance of care, patience, and responsibility. For some, these interactions are transformative, allowing them to see that relationships are not just about what one can gain, but about the joy of giving care and receiving affection in return. This realization speaks to the broader theme of the story. The connection is not just about communication and shared interests, but also about the emotional bonds that form when species take the time to understand each other. By the end of the exchange, even the most skeptical students are eager to learn more about the Earth animals, and some express interest in adopting their own pets. For instance, TK, the Riverian who was initially terrified of Daisy, now asks where they can obtain a dog. Similarly, the Andoran, who had once feared cats, expresses a desire to adopt one, and Prick is now curious about obtaining another tarantula. These requests are symbolic of the deep, lasting impact that the exchange has had on the students. What began as a cultural experiment has now led to lasting personal transformations. The animals, once viewed as intruders or dangers, are now seen as companions and teachers, and the students are embracing their presence in a way that reflects the growth of the entire community. Dean Queren, the university's leader, stands in quiet reflection as the day comes to a close. He had initially been skeptical about the success of this initiative and had even been concerned that it would lead to chaos and conflict. However, as he observes the students interacting with their Earth animals, he realizes that the experiment has been a success beyond his expectations. The initiative has not only allowed the students to learn more about each other's cultures, but has also fostered a deeper sense of connection and empathy across species. Dean Queren's final thoughts reflect the broader lesson that the initiative has taught him, that the galaxy, in all its diversity, can only truly connect when its inhabitants embrace the differences that make them unique. The unpredictable nature of Earth's creatures, once seen as a challenge, has proven to be the very catalyst for the growth of understanding and unity among the species at Galactic University. In conclusion, Point 10 represents the culmination of the cultural exchange, showcasing the lasting impact that the initiative has had on the students and their relationships with both the animals and each other. Through shared experiences, patience, and open-mindedness, the students have overcome their initial fears and misunderstandings, forming bonds that transcend species and cultures. The animals, once viewed as threats, have become symbols of the power of empathy, connection, and the unpredictable beauty of life. The initiative has succeeded in its ultimate goal, fostering unity and understanding in a diverse and interconnected galaxy.